Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I super appreciate it. So 2 weeks ago, we had doji or indecision candles in all three of the major indices. But then last week, wow, what a red candle that was in all three of the major indices. So is that momentum going to continue? Maybe. But I think we are actually going to close the week higher than we are right now in all three of the major indices. I also think oil will close the week lower, even though we saw a green candle against the major indices this week. I think oil is going to close the week lower than it is right now. And I think silver is going to start to lead gold. It's going to start to be the stronger of the two, I should say. So with that said, let's talk charts. You ready? Whoop. All right. So first of all, boom. This is the yearly SPX chart, or ES chart, I should say, I'm sorry. And wow, this is 12 months here. This is less than 1 month here. Incredible, right? What a January so far. And we are, as of right now, below 4402.75, which is sort of my monthly channel line, if you will. And we are also below the 9MA, all right? Now, let's look at the weekly chart. So last week, I tried a long scalp early in the week, and I was hoping that we would get above 4595 because I thought there would be a squeeze there, but we were never able to hold that level. And then at the end of the week, as sort of a last-ditch effort, my 4380 level here, I thought was a very good, odds of providing us with a wick for the week, but there was such a small bounce from there. It was incredible. So I decided to sort of flatten out for the weekend and just see what happens. But I do still think we're going to close above this 4380 level this next week. So where am I looking to buy? Let me get rid of this candle. That's just, or this price marker. So I'm looking to either, if we flash below this 4380, I'll wait till we get back above it and buy there. Or potentially I might try a sneaky little, if we gap up, I might try a sneaky little buy here if it sort of back tests it. Let me get that candle there. This price marker. Okay, so 4400-ish, okay? So that's what my initial plan is anyway, but we could go all the way down to this MA here. Right now it's 4341. This is sort of the 50 MA. It's sort of the final, better hold. And if that does not hold, might go down to 4280, and then below that that's a higher low, right? It's from these candles. Below that, it's going to start to look massively dire. However, I will point out that my own bias of closing the week higher is, of course, counter trending at this point. Okay, we're below the 20, we're below the 9, it's counter trending. So whenever I take a counter trend, I mind myself in terms of size and or stops. Okay, so I just want to point that out. I'm not a trend trader. Okay, I am a channel trader and somebody who trades against sentiment. All right, so now if I go here, all right, here's where we are right now on the daily, and the next sort of pivot I have is at 4366, and then the last strong line, if you will, flat line, which is typically stronger than these. Anytime I draw a horizontal line, it's a stronger level than if I draw a diagonal line. So anyway, I have 4366.5 as the next level of support, and then 4356, and then below that all the way down to 4278 or so, which corresponds to this 4280 line, right? So that is absolutely possible. And another, if I'm short at the time, that's where I'll try to flip and or take the long if it gets there, if I'm not already short. Okay. So, and then, I mean, from a RSI perspective, we're sort of in the weeds here. We are below RSI support on this weekly basis, so it's going to have some working to do. But let's see what happens. I do think we're going to close the week higher than this close here. Or actually, just let me say, I think we're going to close higher than 4380. Possibly. Okay, maybe not though. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, so we fell out of this beautiful channel. This is the weekly Nasdaq. We fell out of this beautiful channel we have been in since, May of 2020. So the measured move from the fallout of this channel is in fact 13,837. The measured move is taken from me measuring the vertical height of this channel and then subtracting that vertical height from where we fell out of the channel, which was right here. And that's how I got this 13,837. So if you are someone who thinks we are going to go lower from here, that is absolutely the measured move from that. However, the next level of support I have below here is 14,283. And so that's where I think it's good odds, if it gets there early in the week, good odds for potentially bouncing from there, although it certainly can go down to this measured move. And yeah, so as far as the next higher pivot we have, let me just move this down here. It is actually right here. Very close to this 15,209 level, but it's 15,153.25 or so. And that would be, if we get back above that, then that's going to look very, very good for bulls if we can close back above that. Don't know that we will. That's just, that would just be a good sign that we would at least back test the bottom of this channel. Okay. But certainly I think everybody on Twitter and most logical people would say that we are now in short the rip versus buy the dip territory, unless we can get back into this channel. Okay. So just to give you that perspective. All right. Now, small caps. I had talked about buying right here on this caution line. That would be a good RR, but I decided against it. I would have absolutely tweeted about had I done it. But it just looked like there was so much selling that I thought, I mean, I definitely thought we'd get more of a tail than we got, but wow, ew, yuck. However, I probably will try and buy this 1955.6 area. And well, it depends on which indices that I'm playing, but I do think this is a good opportunity for a bounce here if it gets into this area. And again, because it's counter trend, I will mind my size and mind my stops. Okay. Okay. So let's look at Bitcoin quickly. We are below at this time the ambulance level, which is 35,676. Above it, I think good, actually. Okay. Below it, bad. So if you are somebody who has been waiting to get into Bitcoin and you want to take a long here, right now we're at 35,395 with a stop below this previous low of 30. Let me look exactly. The previous low of 34,116 or so. I think you've got very good odds there. Yep, sure do. Let's look at Ethereum. Same dealio. I don't have a sort of a line here, but if you wanted to take a long here with a stop below this previous low of 2311.8, by all means, I think that is a very good idea. Let's look at Doge. Okay, I had talked about Doge attempting to make a higher low, but that isn't what happened. However, Doge is still the strongest of all the three cryptos that I cover. I call them major just because I cover them. But it is the strongest there because this is the largest wick per candle. There of all of the daily on Saturday, this bump here, it's the largest wick we have, and it still has not breached this channel support. So yeah, it looks like crap. Is it bullish? No, it is not. However, I do believe it is the most bullish of all of these cryptos that I cover. So again, same dealio. If you're not already in, I think a long here at about 0.137 with a stop out below this low of, I can't even read it because my thing's over it, a 12. Okay, below 12. I think that's a good odds. I think it's great odds, actually. And so the hope would be of bulls that it'll get back above this channel line and back above these MAs. And then I think we're going to start to see some motion in the ocean of the crypto. Now, I will say that even though it has made a lower low, look at this RSI, right? It's higher. So I think we're going to go higher. Obviously, I think we're going to go higher. I have a lot of Doge. I have a scary amount of Doge. Woo! Let's have a strategy of praying. Why not? Because nobody's supposed to do that. I won't do it. All right, let's look at GDX. Gold miners this week. Remember I had talked about this bend and dip, that it would get right up to this yellow dotted line of 33.2. And I mean, oh boy, how accurate was that? That was pretty freaking accurate. However, I was hoping that even though I thought it would bounce down from that, that it would hold around here and not get quite this low. But you know what? GDX contains equity stocks, and equity stocks were all crap last week. So for this week, for us to maintain our bullishness, I would like to see it close above 31.27, which is below where we are right now. However, last week we held this 20 MA, okay? So the hope is that next week we continue to hold the 20 MA and we continue to go higher, but I only want to see close above 31.27 for me to maintain bullishness. And below that, we have a redemption pivot of 30.96. So would I lose all hope if it closed above that, but not above the key? No, I would not lose all hope. But if it starts to close down here, it's going to start to look a little fug, and you're going to have to start to be a true believer to really think it's going to go up. We started to see these MAs start to cross, and so we want to now start to see some upwards momentum for us to maintain our bullishness. Now, I'm going to start off by showing you GC on the weekly. What in the world, Cordova? This is not enough lines for you. I decided I would make it simple for some people. So, oh boy. So even though gold had a great week last week against the indices, I mean, hello, I would call this relative strength, right? The indices were green AF. And gold was, I'm sorry, the red indices, hello, the indices were red AF, and gold was green. What? Yeah, that's relative strength. Boom, mofos. However, we did bounce off of, or close to off of this triangle level. So for this week, if it gets above 1848, that would be a breakout. That would be a big effing deal. That would be like right home to your mother, right home to your doctor, right home to everybody that you write letters to, and tell them that gold has broken out and they need to be long. Okay. I don't know whether that will happen this week, but that is the figure that I'm watching. And it is very possible that we start to see potentially a pullback here. If indices start to go up, maybe people will say, oh, well, maybe we don't need gold. Okay, but they'll be wrong. But anyway, it's possible that we get some chop inside of this area. I don't know. And the key is that, let me just put it there, because I don't want to be like that weirdo, right? Is this right? Okay, yeah. Now, to maintain bullishness, it can go all the way down to 1766, okay? But above the 1830 area, it closed at 1831, and I think I said that if it closes above this 1830 area, that would be a very good sign, because we want it to sort of keep in this area and not, close down here, because, right? We wanted to sort of, it can dip during the week. We wanted to kind of stay up in this area for a close. That's what I want anyway. All right, now let's look at our normal charts. Okay, that's more Cordova. Whew, geez, I thought I was going mainstream for a hot second there. Okay, so I put in the same line here that I had in that big picture chart. So it's same pivot here, right? But I just drew it in really lightly because that's not my gig. So for it to really break the F out in Cordova land, it needs to get above 1858.2. That is the next level of resistance above that 48. But then once it's above that, ba-doom, 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 okay? It can go all the way back here. 1788.9 is the key. It's above right now all three of these MAs that I watched, the 9, the 20, and the 50. It back tested this other one. So it's really looking bullish at this time, okay? And it's got a green week compared to the red week of the indices. F you, indices. Let's look at silver. Silver is even stronger than gold this week, okay? Like this past week. That's like huge because, some people, including myself, usually look for silver to lead. However, gold has been leading for this past few months, actually. I think it's at least a month. Let me just say that. Time flies when you're trading. But anyway, I think that silver, if we do have a down week, I think silver will be less down than gold. I know, right? Weird. But if we have an up week, I think silver will be more up than gold. I hope I said that right. I hope you can figure that out. Anyway, you can figure it out. However, silver is not technically bearish until, geez Louise, I'm on opposite land. Gold is not objectively, well, it's above the 20 MA and it's above the 50, but my key is actually right in line with the 9 MA, which is 24.945 this week. So 24.945 is my key level, above which super bullish, right? Because then it's above all three of the major MAs. And then if it gets above 25.395, that is my silver. Call your neighbor, call your dentist, call everybody you know, and tell them to buy silver. Hello, get on board the silver train. Oh, now this is the 4 hour, which has very minimal lines here, just horizontal lines, and this is starting to look like a bull flag. However, the flag is a little bit light given the size of the pole, so we're watching that. It could go a little bit lower here, absolutely, but for now, this looks like a really nice 4 hour candle off of this, not exactly off of it, almost off of this 20 MA. It looks to me like it might be still a good deal. Let's look at oil. Okay, so oil had a green week, just like gold, but against the major indices. So that's weird. Look at these oil stocks. This is XOP weekly. It looks terrible. This is like, there's such a thing as a bullish and gold, there's such a thing as an engulfing candle, a bearish engulfing candle, and this is like super bearish engulfing candle. However, we still closed above this 100.43 level that I talked about watching, barely. So it's still holding that bullishness, just barely. However, I do believe that oil will close down this week from where it ended this previous week. You know what I'm talking about. I think oil is going to close red here. Okay, so I'm not sure about the oil stonks, but as long as they hold 96.58, they're in the channel, and if they hold the 100.43 at the end of the week, that would be bullish again. Okay, so for now, it's done what it needs to do for the diehards, but it's looking a little dicey, and if you're the buy the dipper, then this 96.58 would be a good area to watch. Okay. And then above this 100.43, yay. Okay, and let me just change this just in case. You never know. You never know. The top of the channel is 116.22. All right, Natty. I went long Natty at 3.79-ish area this week, and I added a little bit, so I'm a little bit above that. But anyway, I think that was a very good odds for me to add there. Here's why. Because, a guy I interact with on Twitter. And, by the way, this guy has like, I don't know, 100-ish followers, but he's a good trader. There are many, many good traders that don't even have a lot of followers because because they're not dramatic like myself, and maybe they're just not people who care. And not that I measure myself by that, but they just do their own thing, and they're just on there to socialize. They're on there to just sort of have fun. Anyway, I was interacting with him. His name is Chris, and I was saying, hey, what do you think of this 3.79 level? And he's watching 3.60 level, which I also think is a great level to watch. But in my own opinion, that if it gets down there, because it's hit there a couple of times, I just wasn't as comfortable. So I just tried to catch it a little bit before then. And I liked this area in particular because this is where I saw a lot of the, if you kind of squint your eyes, you can see a lot of chop in this area. So I did go long. However, is it bullish yet? No, it is not, because it is still, it's trying, right? It's trying. but it needs to get more above these MAs in order for it to be bullish. I was just measuring based off of how freaking cold I am in Florida. And I make a joke about lizards, but really it's not a total joke, because lizards tend to come in my old Florida house whenever it's about to get really cold or really hot outside. I don't know how they know these things, but that's where they find cracks and crevices in my windows to come in. So anywho, I am long Natty going into this next week. I think it's a good RR here, but if you want to try and catch it lower, 3.60 area is another area to watch. Below that, not so much, not as good of an RR. Okay. Oh, I didn't change this, so let me change it. Boop, 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 boop. Ish. Okay. All right. So, that's a red week, but above this 4.07 on the weekly pivot, and yay, it might get some momentum up here to this next level of 4.395, and above that, a breakout for Natty would be 4.62. Hold on to your seat belts. It's going higher if it gets there, I think. Okay, let's look at coffee. All right, so yeah. Okay, so coffee, I was hoping would just have a freaking fantastic green week, but it did have a little bit of a want week, similar to this week. So it's possible this next week is lower. However, I maintain my bullishness long term in coffee as long as it's above, firstly, this 58.59 level, which would be a back test of this ascending triangle breakout, but even lower than that, 52.07, still bullish. Okay, definitely still bullish all the way to there, and even lower, but that's okay. So for right now, we're still above all of the MAs, and a breakout would be above 69.52, but I will continue buying the effing dip all the way down to this 58.59 level, in which case I'll probably like calm down a little bit and start to wait. But I do think it's a bullish chart. I think we are going to go to 77.07. May take some time, but that's how I'm playing it. And I could, of course, be wrong, because we did bounce down from this RSI resistance, so we'll have to see. But I like it. All right, let's look at ARK, because I hope I scaled in this past week, and I got a little overly ambitious, or I got FOMO, anxious on it, because on Tuesday, because of the short week, I just saw a bunch of people that are, I don't want to say. There are people that sort of make the move, but after the move's already happened, you know what I mean? Which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong for waiting for confirmation, but they're just people who are a little bit behind the curve. They were super bearish on it, and I was like, oh, I got to get some of that action. I got to get some of that action. And it tried midweek. One thing I did notice, and I didn't plot the daily here, but you can see it's super volatile. So it's kind of like it can turn around at any time, and it could gap up and go. It's possible. It's done that before. I don't know, but if you just look at this, and somebody else asked, well, how low can it go? So let me explain how low it can go. It can go to zero. That's how low it can go. It can go to zero. So don't. It's a mistake to think like that, and I used to think like that too. I used to think, well, geez, but I'll prepare myself. You can't, because no one, I don't care how good of a trader they are, can tell you the lowest that something can go. What they can say is, here's how low it can go without me vomiting. That's what they can say honestly, but they can't tell you how low it can go. It can go to zero. Okay, so don't think like that. If you have to think of how much of a loss am I willing to take, and you know what's not bad, and I did say to this, I said, if it closes above this 74.18, that's bullish, in my opinion. It did not. Or if it closes with, the bigger the wick it closes with, that's the more bullish it is, right? So technically speaking, we are below these 3 MAs, we are below my pivot, and we did not have a wick. That is not looking super good for technicals, okay? Technicals alone. The next support I have for this next week is a high 62 area, okay? That's the next level of support that I have. That would still maintain this really not great looking flag. However, if it gets above, my own strategy would be, by the way, it's no harm in taking a reducing here. If you're long and you've been waiting, there's no harm in reducing and waiting until it gets above 74.18 and then adding it again. There's no harm in that at all, right? That's what a lot of people do. And whatever, you can't, it's not like once you've invested in something and it's red, it's not like you're stuck in it. You can leave at any time and you can wait for either something to get more bearish or to get technically bullish. You can absolutely do that. That is the thing a lot of people do, and it's okay to do that. I will say on a smaller time scale here, the 4 hour, it's possible we get a little bit lower here because, like I said, it's possible it goes to zero. But, what I'm looking at here is this divergence where price has gone nothing but lower and RSI has actually tried to go higher. Now, this could cancel out, right? We could get lower than this, and this could have just been the move from all of that bullish divergence. But let's see what's going to happen. So potentially the next 4 hour gets down to here, the support, and then we go higher. So yeah, that's ARK, and that's it. Yay. Okay, so let me make myself big. Thank you again so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos, and thank you for sharing my work on Twitter if you do that. I really do appreciate it. As you know, I don't have a service or anything like that, so I make money in advertising, but it's not a lot. It's like $200 a month, so it's like whatever. But you know what? It does pay for my pedicures and manicures, so there's that. So anyway, thank you so much, and I do appreciate your help, and I will talk to you soon and see you on the internet. Bye!